Yes. But, Hoffman once told me something about Rachmaninoff which stopped me cold. He said, it's true that Rachmaninoff doesn't practice his works very much, but he has a great advantage over the rest of us, because now, at the late date in his life, now that he's decided to become a concert pianist, he's tackling all the old works, the Schumann works and the Beethoven works, with a new enthusiasm that we couldn't possibly muster for them. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's the most wonderful thing that ever happened, because it's a tragedy, but to have a person like Rachmaninoff that enjoyed such fame and glory in Russia and thought he was set for the rest of his life, and then this tragedy, having to leave and having lost all his possessions. And first time he came to America, he played all his own works, recitals and concertos, and was a great success. But when he came the second time, the management said, now you can't expect Americans to go and hear you play the same things. So he realized that, and then he had to start practicing from scratch, because his technique was more adaptable to his own works, so to speak, grooved to all the passage work and so on. You didn't have to worry about. But you can't employ the same technique in Beethoven or Schumann. So he started with five-finger exercises, Czerny studies, scales.
No.
Yes, and then study all Chopin and all Beethoven, all Schumann that he wanted to play.
Yes, I know he practiced fantastically slowly, slower than any other pianist I've ever heard in my life. But I didn't realize that he did straight technical work, Benno.
Yes, he told me his favorite is he never starts on anything but the third study of Czerny, D major.
Yes. And, Benno, I know that one of the few happinesses he had in his life was the interpretation of his works by a few counted great artists whom he held very dear, and you were certainly among them.
Well, I was always interested in his works, of course, and I always spoke to me first before he played about the Rhapsody, and another work of his was much smaller dimensions. He could half complainingly told me that he just wrote a very effective little piece. And he said first, I've never asked any colleague of mine to play my works. If they play them, I'm delighted. If they don't play them, I have nothing against them. But please, Benno Moiseiwitsch, I ask you, will you play my scherzo from the Midsummer Night's Dream?
Oh, the transcription of the Mendelssohn, yes.
And of course I never heard of it. And I asked him about it. He said, he just completed it not long ago and played it in America. It's very effective and it's very successful.
It's a fabulous piece, and he himself has a most extraordinary recording of it. Did you ever hear it?
Yes.
And did you record it yourself? I don't know that. I'm ashamed to tell you. I don't know. I don't know your recording of it.
I must tell you.
Yours is better.
I must Yes.
Good. I'm glad to hear you think that.
But I'll tell you why,
Wonderful.
if I just in a few words.
Yes.
Because Rachmaninoff told me he recorded this, made 14 recordings.
Yes.
And he wasn't satisfied with any. And he said, gentlemen, if you can find any recording you want to issue, do it, but I'm through. And I heard the recording, which was, nothing can be bad or not good with Rachmaninoff, but I knew it was not as perfect as Rachmaninoff would have liked, and especially after having told me what he did tell me.
Yes.
And after a while, I wanted to record it. And for about a year or 18 months, the company wouldn't do it because they said Rachmaninoff recorded it not so long ago.
Yeah.
And one day I was recording, doing some Chopin or Schumann, or I forget what it was, and it was a particularly happy session.
Yes.
Everything was going just splendidly. And I happened to finish everything. The man came out from the cubicle, said, wonderful, lovely. And I still had half an hour to spare. I was already beginning to put my collar and tie on, and the man said, listen, we still have half an hour. I wish you'd do something. I said, oh, no. If I've succeeded in doing what I had to do, I'm quite satisfied, because to me it's always an ordeal. He said, well, just something. And I kept on saying, no. And then I said, I'll tell you what, I'll play one thing. Put on the, what do you call it, the metrics.
Yes.
That means you can't hear it back again.
Yes.
And I'll just play it once through. If it's all right, it's all right. If it isn't, we'll go and have lunch. He said, good. So I took off my tie and collar, sat down on the piano again, waited for the red light and for the buzz, and I started. And finished, and I put my both thumbs up. And that's the best recording I ever made in my life.
Oh, Benno, you know,
Now, that is not because Rachmaninoff is not as good a pianist as I am, but that is just a question of, if you know you've got to do something, he probably practiced for it, and he was unhappy. If they'd asked me to do it, I would have practiced for weeks and probably would have been a complete failure.
Oh, we all
But
understand
I knew
that.
I didn't have to do it, therefore it came off.
Yes.
But he knew he had to do it, and this way he had difficulties.
Yes, there's a degree of relaxation one doesn't achieve the other way, and everybody's had that experience. Now, I wish we could go on and on, Benno Moiseiwitsch, but the clock says we can't. Thank you for coming here tonight, and to express our appreciation for the insight and devotion you yourself have contributed through the years to the music and the memory of Rachmaninoff, and to wish you yourself many more anniversaries, because we know this is your 50th year on the platform, and all those anniversaries we hope to celebrate with you, Benno.
Thank you very much, Abram. It's nice of you to ask me, and I'm delighted to be here.